All right, James, we have a question about, someone asked about in terms of stick fighting, right? The 12 angles of attack and the footwork with it. Now, of course, this is the Filipino martial arts, right? But you have some thoughts on it that you want to get across.
The stick comes from the blade. In a lot of ways, you use it the same way, or the same rules apply. I've done maybe 60 dull machete duels with this gauntlet on. And if you look close, you're only going to see about a dozen places where an edge has struck it.
Oh, hell no.
Okay? I got no protection over here. I've had a couple of these fingers broken doing this. That's lack of discipline on my part. On the spine, this type of blade, you're actually supposed to take the blows on the spine. You don't see that many, okay? And this was used by Eureka and myself against another one, and he's a better defensive fighter than me. So this tells you a lot. On the inside, you can only see a couple of paris where you've slapped with the side of the blade, which you can't do with a Japanese blade because it'll break. On the outside here, you'll see a fair amount of parries where there's been an outside slap. That's to set up an inside cut. A lot more than this. And where do we see most of the damage on this blade? All along here and along here. You can even see where the aluminum folds right here. Right here, you can see the stress of the metal. So these things are actually too heavy to go full speed with it without breaking bones very easily.
I'm sure.
So this is dull. It does more damage than a dull machete, so we use this for slow motion sparring. The length is right here. Okay? So
my
this
favorite
is the ideal length stick to train with. This is for training for using something you pick up like an axe handle or a 2x4. This for something like an umbrella or a fireplace poker or a straight sword. This for a flashlight, rolled up newspaper, whatever.
That's my favorite length. I know how that sounds.
And the longer it gets, the more your time and measure and experience comes into play.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all we need to practice with for that short cutlass jungle sword. The basic thing to remember is that you take a hit in here and you're no longer armed, okay? Because you're gonna, at least one of these things is going to get smashed. So when we come back to the second part, we'll actually do the 12 angles with that in mind, because you can't hurt anybody slapping with them like this, not a serious man, and you can actually break your thumb slapping with a stick because all the pressure will go against the thumb. So you're training to strike with this just like it was a blade, and just like you would shear and cut with a blade. When you hit somebody with this, you're going to feel it bounce.
Oh yeah.
So you have to practice driving through as if it was a blade. And I have old photos of me after fights where you can see I've got multiple bruises where the guy did it properly and the bruises track across my body. Okay, so I would just keep that in mind for part 2, which will be the angles of attack, and we'll start out with the 12 angle question.
All right. Okay, so that's the intro vid. Okay, all right, so now we got this useful dummy here, and you are going to go over the angles. The idea there's 12 angles in Filipino martial arts. Now,
That's one. That's dosi pares, which means 12 guards.
Okay.
I don't have any instructional qualifications in any Filipino martial arts. I did train under Richard Bastia one time, who was the head dosi pares man for a while. He's passed, and he explained to me that half of the dosi pares strokes are just something you never use in combat. They're used to teach bilateral coordination, and so people could fight with empty hands. They could fight from different angles. Now, I can't even remember all 12 guards. There are videos that Sean took of myself from 2015 where I think I go over 9 different counts, including dosi pares, lamika, eskrima, one of the sayak counts, 3 counts from Baez Tres Manos.
Oh yeah,
okay?
Tres Manos. Yeah.
So some of them are blade based, some of them aren't. We reduced that to what we called the Crooked 7 in 2016 because we took a survey of 30 guys that had been in over 500 stick fights. At the time, I'd been in over 400. What strikes did you use effectively? What strikes were effectively used against you? And when you're refereeing, what fights were effectively used in the match? We only came down with 7 identifiable strokes. And at the time, we had taken the 12 count, and to include other people's counts, had taken up to a 20. That's impractical. We reduced it to a 7. I have forgotten the 7 count because
I thought you were like down to 4.
So the thing is, between 7 and 9 out of 10 effective strokes are a diagonal forehand.
Oh.
Okay, and that's it, diagonal forehand. And guess what? This is the same exact stroke that almost every unskilled person is going to use against you.
Right, yeah.
So we further reduced this to a 4 count. I did this with Portland Joe in Portland with the number 1 repeating. The number 1 in most Filipino counts is a diagonal forehand.
Right.
Okay. The number 2 in most counts is a diagonal backhand. That's your X-peg.
Right.
First time we get somebody with a stick, you can do a whole lot with an X. You just have this X. A lot of those beats that we showed with that machete, that came from, oh, I missed because Arik didn't want to get hit.
Right.
I redondo around, and now I'm doing a pen block, pari, because he's got a forehand coming here like this. Okay, so this ends up becoming a
the idea is that
stroke.
Right.
This redondo has a defensive application. It's not just cutting through his target range. If you miss a forehand and he's coming with a forehand, now you're rotating the backhand in the way, brushing his blade over here, trying to catch a hand.
Well, the whole idea is that the thing it keeps moving. It doesn't start and stop. I'm hitting you.
Don't
right.
let your hand stop in the middle. This is more important than anything.
Yeah.
You don't let your hand stop in the middle.
Hand is a huge
so we
target.
do a 1, a 2, a 1, a 3. This is the most powerful stroke that's not going to ruin your elbow. And we do a 1 and a 4. It's safer to do a backhanded vertical downward than a forehanded because it puts your thumb out of danger. So we got 1, 2, 1, 3. That's real nasty if you're a tall dude.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
I like that.
1, 4. And this is usually a retreating stroke. Some guys can make it work with offense. So it shows some most of your offense is stopped by the other guy aborting his offensive stroke and just turning it into a beat. I'm going for Arik's head, tracking here, and oh, I see he's going to hit my hand. I go for his hand. I probably missed that too. Okay, so you're constantly, to keep your hand out of danger, you're constantly aborting a stroke and making it a defensive beat. These are, I'm simulating him throwing back at me, so I can try to set up that. This is all simulated defense. I'm probing.
Wow. That's right.
And the footwork that goes with this, I would do another short video for the footwork.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is the best length for doing most of your work. But I highly encourage you, after you can do this without hurting your wrist, to move to the longer stick. That way you could use something like a shovel handle or an umbrella or a broom handle effectively, and it increases your time and measure. It increases the range, your sensitivity for space that develops. And then ultimately, you've got to get down to this stuff here, okay?
Look at this guy move.
And this, that's you want those stabs, okay? This is ultimately, you're either going to have this or you're going to have something that's too long.
Right.
It's very unusual to come across this.
Well, yeah, that's Jet's whole thing is that you can't have something like that in the UK.
This is like baton length.
Right.
There's just a lot of weapons that are this length, so they're not that usual. Okay, so what we can do, the footwork strokes next, but for a wide variety of stroke counts and footwork, look at the modern agonistic tag on LaFond.com, and there's going to be a bunch of training videos that show up. you'll see me doing all these different counts. It was just an attempt for me to get along with the guys that were letting me spar with the men at their schools, because I was like the sparring coach for 5 different Filipino martial arts programs. The most important thing to watch is the heavy bag training video with the stick, where you can see Charles and myself hitting the bag, and it will become plain to you once you see that why I never beat Charles in the stick.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
All right. So footwork. All right, I'm gonna try to get your feet, and I have you in the wide angle. So here we go.
If I'm doing a stick fight, I'm like this. If I'm dealing with a group of guys, I'm going to go here. Shoulder load. This doesn't work too good in a stick fight against a good guy, but it's better for dealing with people because it reminds you to keep this thing in here. The basic triangle strokes. The outside.
Right.
Female. Triangle. Okay, so I'm going here with a stroke. I'm bringing this foot in here, ball of the foot into the instep. I've got to have this here to check something, and then, now that's a weak side stroke. Why did I say it's a weak side stroke? Because I'm going away from the stick. I got my forearms conditioned so I can still hurt somebody with it, but I'm not going to splatter a skull or break an arm or a leg while I'm going away. I'm going to do that when I'm going this way. If you're traveling the same direction as the stick, a lot more power goes into it. Doing these power pivots and everything with a stick, if you don't drop the guy instantly, you just got grabbed. And even if you drop him instantly, if he's got friends, you just got grabbed. So
you need that footwork is to be able to get out.
So now we're going to go to the inside triangle. Okay, he's coming in. I'm building the base.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's a charge like this, and I got right on his shoulder. Okay, so I could do an abbreviated one. Let's say you're the associate of this fine young man right here that's I insulted while he was headed to put in his college application.
Yeah, he's going to go to medical school in the fall.
Pull this right back to here. Right here. Okay?
Oh.
Okay, so, or I could go and I want to be over here with a hand, and I don't want to try to finish him. I want to get to you.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
okay?
chill.
I want to use him to get to you. So, head strokes against an aggressor. All right. You don't want to do this. Yeah. If we're competing, we got fence and mask on. I want the guy to quit. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But with no gear on, if you get hit in the side of the head with something like this, you're dead. Okay, or your brain damage, and you don't want to be responsible for body.
No.
You also want a standing post against his accomplices. So if you're going to go and use this guy for a post, I suggest power shot out here is ideal. If you have to go there, you go there, but you're there. So I'm going away. I'm going for the knee.
Ouch.
Okay, now I'm going to fan the head. That's blood.
Right.
That's blood.
Right.
That's blood.
Not hard.
He's probably got 3 scalp lacerations.
Yeah, but he's not.
Okay.
He's not. His brain is not.
Concussion.
Right.
He's not dead, and now he's a post, so I can go right
Whoa.
here. Okay, so that's for self-defense.
Right.
If you want to look at all the angles for competition, you look at those 2015.
Oh, like you mentioned the clavicle. Like the clavicle is an option too. If you're going high.
If the guy's a power lifter or something, forget the clavicle. You know, you want to hit it. Okay. If you were taller than the guy and he's skinny, like me, I've been knocked out numerous times on clavicle shots, and you've actually seen, I think, 2 of them. Okay, it's bad, but that's why you classify guys into twerps, goons, and meat shields. Okay, so the twerps are bony guys. You stop them by breaking their bones, hitting their joints, and you don't have to break my bones. You just have to paralyze me with an electric shock.
Right. The muscle, the muscles like just won't work sometimes.
The goons, the fat dudes, they feel a lot of pain.
Yeah.
The fat propagates nerve endings. Okay, and muscle dudes, the meat shields, they get tired real easy. So you make them expend a bunch of effort, and you beat their muscles and bleed their muscles. I love fighting muscle.
Oh,
members,
man, dude.
okay?
Hateful,
Okay.
that hateful
So,
leprechaun.
this is your courtesy rest position that's used in a lot of Filipino martial arts schools, and it does go to something
Right.
that's useful.
So you mentioned, so just to reiterate, for like, you know, power strokes to the legs,
Yeah, power stroke to the
like
leg.
fan the head, go around them, maybe get the clavicle if he's a skinny guy. You know, just watch those headshots. There you go. And use that checking hand, that other hand, that free hand. Don't do what I do. I just think I'm gonna fence with it.
Okay, and that goes to our
Oh,
next.
all right.